Our library is open from 7 in the morning until midnight most of the week, and after that, the students must head back to their dorms or head back home. Those who live on campus have the option to study in their dorm halls as there is designated space in their buildings. However, those who live off campus have no place to go. Most students would enjoy having a place to study later into the night, if not earlier in the morning. Even if the entire library is not open, a location like the Lantern would suffice. It would allow more students to stay on campus to study when they want to, and more importantly, within a better environment.
The library hours, do you think they cut your productiveness short at all?
Yeah, so it imposes a limit, especially on the weekends. If you think about it, it opens at 12, it closes at 6 on Saturdays, if I think that's the correct time.
I think 6 on Friday.
Fridays, it closes at 6, and then that kind of just lowers the time you want to be here. Maybe Friday you want to get some work done, but...
we do building counts, head counts, and, we have had phenomenal percentage of occupancy, over 70% occupancy, a lot. And that's impossible. That doesn't happen in an academic library. Academic libraries don't get that full, because when they get that full, people go somewhere else. 50% full, and people won't come. They go somewhere else. Well, that doesn't... it's happening at Merced because there's no place else to go. So we're very, very aware. We see people sitting on the floor. It's very crowded in the building.
We live in a pretty kind of rural area. We don't really have like a city space where you could go to a cafe that's 24 hours or something like that. There isn't really that option here.
During the peak hours of the day, if you are lucky enough to find a spot to study, it is highly unlikely that the surrounding environment will be suitable for you. The increasing number of students, however, has led to a compacted working space. Most students can study in areas with a moderate noise level, but oftentimes it is much noisier. Even as you reach a higher level of the library, the standards are not enforced, and you are likely to hear more than just small talk.
We don't have enough space. We've lost from our opening day footprint of actual library space. We've lost about 15% of that space, and our student population has grown 8 times. So space has gone down, student population goes up by 800%. It's more than 800%, so it's just not enough space. And that's the big issue we're facing.
What about the new classroom buildings we need built?
They're offices.
They're simply just offices.
They're offices.
Okay.
Very, very little classroom space, which worries me because we are around the clock teaching, 7 a.m. until 11 o'clock at night. Unless we do Saturday classes and unless there's classroom space, I don't know how we can grow as a campus. But we also need offices, so I don't want to diminish that. But yeah, it's mainly offices, labs, some classrooms, but...
It's pretty much the only place where you can study out of home. Because, if you're at home, you have more distractions than here, but other than that, you have to put up with what you got.
Right. So you feel like the library is your only study option away from home?
Sometimes it feels like that because, when you go down to the computer lab, it's either too packed or too loud, or...
UC Merced, however, only has one library and does not have much study space for students who do not live on campus and want to get work done while it is closed.
What I dislike is probably the noise level. The noise level at times between all the floors is rowdy, especially on the 4th floor. With all the other people, you can't really concentrate up there. 2nd floor as well, people are disrespectful, bumping loud music or something. And usually the Wi-Fi, usually around midnight, not midnight, midday, the internet connection starts to lag just because of the crowd, all the commotion, not all the commotion, but the crowd in the library just slows down the network, all the people just being on campus.
The Wi-Fi. I truly do not like the Wi-Fi, and you never have a guaranteed spot of where you can actually study.
It's pretty mixed up, but we now have a permanent chief information officer, so I would imagine that's pretty high on the list. Data management just has to be tackled on our campus, so what we have is pretty primitive. So, I know it's really poor in the library. Like, I've gone to the Lantern to get a cup of coffee, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll just do some work here,
Nope.
and it's impossible.
With the increasing number of students comes a blow to the hardware as well. The Wi-Fi is unreliable during moderately busy hours of the day, so the peak hours are almost completely out of the question unless you have an Ethernet cord or are working in the computer labs. But even then, you will most likely have a slow connection.
The library has played a central role at our campus from the very beginning. It's been a student center, it's been a library, it's been a cafeteria. Like, it has played every function. But it does have to be a library at some point, and it could be a study space. But maybe we should have study spaces.
So what we're doing right now is, for the fall, our plan is to have, during the semester, fall and spring semester, 24/7 study space downstairs in KL 155, which is, again, where the cafe and those chairs are. Not ideal, but it is indoors. You've got wireless, you've got power, there's places to sit. We've talked to the police department, and they're pretty hard to convince, but we think we've convinced them that it can be safe to do that. So that's our initial plan for the fall, would be to open that space will be open for 24/7 study.
Faculty and staff must act to implement these measures to ensure the continued success of its students.